And the thing I need to reply to these people, because I get a very common reply, is you cannot complain now. The game just started. Guys, who gives a fuck?
We need that for the intro. That is a banger. Nah, he just crashing out.
People are quitting the game.
What?
About that. And the thing I need to reply to these people, because I get a very common reply.
Wait, he had a second ult. He had 2 casts. He had 2 casts. It was a 2-parter. Body limit unlocked.
Is you cannot complain now. The game just started. Guys, who gives a fuck?
And now it's like over here. Body limit unlocked.
People are quitting the game. We need to reason why these people are quitting the game. And some of you will be like, oh, doesn't matter if they quit the game. It's...
That's amazing. Holy shit. The optics for this title are terrible. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it again, and I know it's been a long time, and I know you might be disappointed at the lack of videos you've been seeing about this game on my channel. It's Arknights Endfield, and we have a bit of a discussion piece over here by good old Kuki Kaze, one of the OG Arknights YouTube creators, who also happens to be, well, an Endfield creator as well. And one thing that I want to say about Kuki Kaze is that he's been one of the people that's been unafraid of criticizing Arknights Endfield. But one thing that's very, very, very clear as a result of the horrifying trajectory that the developers have taken is that his channel has unfortunately fallen off. Because one thing that every Arknights Endfield channel has gone through is a fall off of its own, because the game is garbage. And all I need to do is show you the Twitch tracker viewership numbers over here live right now as of this time. Bro, this is pathetic. And then when you go to like 7 days, bro, this is where shit just literally gets worse. Bro, you go to 7 days, check this shit out over here. You might be like, oh, bro, this is a 71. And then this morning, are you ready to see what it was this morning? Then you go to YouTube views. YouTube searches, Arknights Endfield. Compare it maybe to a title like Wuthering Waves. It's down in the fucking dirt. Woo-Wah's actually like, at one point, 10xing it in YouTube popularity. Does it kind of make sense what's going on over here? And so I love seeing creators that even though they have closely tied themselves to a game, tied themselves to an IP, they're willing to take the time to call it out when there needs to be callouts. And with a title like this, we cannot criticize Arknights Endfield in quotations. I can likely tell what this piece is about. So why don't we go ahead, see this discussion together, and see just what the thoughts are from somebody that clearly likes this game, but knows what some of its shortcomings actually are.
We're gonna have a conversation about Endfield, because there's a discourse happening on Twitter. People are talking about the idea of whether or not you're allowed to criticize Endfield. And
yes, the answer is yes. And if you're ever at the point where you're debating whether or not someone's allowed to criticize a game, the first thing you should do is call them retarded and stop talking to them.
I'm going to give you guys some context. It does involve one of our beloved AK content creators, and it kind of started out from this reply that comes over here. Okay, I'm going to
oh boy.
Read this reply first.
So this is going to be a situation started by Supa. And I've personally been a proponent of making Supa's real nickname Pusa, because this guy straight up was just like, dude, this guy is like one of the craziest grifters I've ever seen, where he like grifts on the side of criticizing Endfield, then he grifts on the side of like shielding Endfield from criticism. Like it just like depends on like which side of the bed he woke up on this morning.
Arknights fans wants Endfield,
and like I guess he's doing it again here, because like obviously he's the source of this entire fucking discussion.
To do world building, character growth of the entire cast, visual novel storytelling, a Babel type event for Endmin, all in the span of 2 patches. We are at version 1.2. It's getting annoying. There's a good amount of fair criticism, but some are just delusional. So
okay. So now we're here. He's on the side of you can critique Endfield now. Okay, so he's picked it. Let's just hope he doesn't click escape and then click the switch team button halfway through this video.
Super pretty much angrily replied, you're only allowed to criticize Endfield 2 years from now in version 2.4 when the game is finally good. And
this is the thing. I think this is a fair response from Supa. Pusa. you should be able to criticize a game before it reaches like its final state or reaches like this final vision over here. That's why there's so much critique for NTE. That's why Woowa's critiques kind of stopped after version 1.1. Once you realize that a game is in a good spot, ladies and gentlemen, there is really no more need to critique it anymore. Do you see anyone critiquing Woowa nowadays? No. Nobody's actually actively critiquing the game. Most people are using it to critique other games. Maybe right now they're like making fun of like Sagrika's story and like whimpering ways, but that's it. Like in terms of like core gameplay, all of that, core story, nobody ain't saying shit. So you stop critiquing a game or you only critique the old stuff once the game is in a good spot. And if you're at the point where AKE is still being critiqued, that's just because it's a bad fucking game. It went lower. Bro, I refreshed it and it went lower. Bro, it's about to hit double digits live. Bro, it's about to hit double digits right. Oh my god.
And he has a very strong opinion that...
And this is the thing. What I'll also say on top of this. If the critiques ever stop for a game without there being praises for what they fixed, that means your game is just dead. If people stop even critiquing it, that means nobody cares anymore. They're just indifferent and they've moved on. That's worse.
This game is a potential game. And I'm siding on his opinion that this game has a very, potential game type of fight, right? As he kind of puts on the very bottom, always they are working on it, it'll be done later, but never it is good now. I do see that there's a lot of people replying back and forth and then being very open about why they don't like Endfield, why they like Endfield, and all that sort of thing. And I kind of want to put my view towards this as well, in terms of like, what do I feel of Endfield at the moment, and how do I feel we should be discussing about Endfield?
I'm glad that Kookie's doing this type of video, though. I didn't think that he did this sort of like on stream, sort of just like yap sesh. Obviously, he's supplying you with like a lot of like materials and stuff, right? Yeah, I didn't know he did this sort of stuff, but it's good to know that he's able to do it.
So I think with the fact that we've all played through 1.0, 1.1, 1.2, well, I say that, but some of you didn't play 1.1 and 1.2 because you guys quit during 1.
I like how he's like giggling. I like how he's like giggling as he talks about people quitting because like he knows the game was like I feel like he has to know the game is shit. He has to know when he's like giggling like this, talking about people quitting. Bro, he has to know the game is bad.
1.0. And for reasons
he's still laughing.
Reasons that we have discussed before in other videos, right?
Good.
1.1, for most people, if not everyone who's played it, will say that 1.1 was a better experience than 1.0.
But...
And then 1.2 was actually also a better experience than what happened in 1.1.
But...
So it is a good thing that the, story feel, the gameplay and whatnot, the world exploration...
I think they're talking about the overall story. I think they're talking about the story, not the patch as a whole.
It's kind of like going upwards, making people feel a little bit better about the game. But if you have played this game all the way to 1.2, okay, whatever was your initial opinion of 1.0, some of you didn't like it, some of you accepted it, but the fact that we all think that it's better, you kind of need to sit in the shoes of the people who have quit the game in a sense.
Basically, I don't think he's wrong. What he's saying is that the game has gotten better since 1.0, but 1.0, 1.1, and 1.2 aren't good. So that just means 1.0 was like some grade A weapons grade bullshit. That's what he's saying.
1.0 just was not a good experience. Right? A lot of people talk about how AK fans wants world building for Endfield to be exactly like how AK kind of paints of it. And I do agree with what the first comments kind of stated, that we are only 2 patches in and we can never try to get to that extent of AK, right? AK...
I think this is a good analogy for it. Imagine that AKE 1.0 is like the dirtiest public school bathroom you've ever seen. There's like shit on the walls. Somebody like shit in the ceiling fan somehow. There's like pee everywhere. And then 1.1 was like the guys cleaning up one stall. 1.2 was them taking the shit out of the ceiling fan. It's still a dirty fucking bathroom.
World building only truly took off after years of many story. You have the prior stories as the baseline, and then afterwards all the later stories helps to build upon whatever that you see before. But that does not mean that AK...
You still gotta shit like squatting on like the seats.
It doesn't have isolated story experiences. A lot of people say AK world building is great, right? But the thing is that when I take a look at AK's chapter 0 to chapter 5, and I've often said this, I don't think the starting chapters of AK was amazing as well. Like, if it's not for me reading other stories of Arknights, I wouldn't have known that AK writing can be pretty good. But the impression that I got from the first few main stories that AK has had made me feel like maybe I wouldn't be all that interested to...
Who the fuck is that?
You know, read more about AK's story.
The fuck?
And thankfully...
Yo, you want to explain that?
I took the dip to see what the other side stories can offer. I think this same phenomenon is happening in Endfield as well. That the starting...
Ah! The fuck is Solon Lee doing in his apartment?
Stories do not do a service to the game. People were so hyped to see that Endfield is delivering on the 3D medium of storytelling, but yet the way they do it doesn't feel all that great, doesn't feel all that nice to sit through. On that part, right, I think we need to understand that we don't have to think about, oh, we're gonna get like a lone trail, a babble type of thing in Endfield. Like, that's not realistic, I agree. But let's just talk about the experience that we're set through in the front. And the fact that some of the characters just don't feel very flesh, there's not very good characterization, they feel very empty, they feel very shell-like, you know. I think for the sake of Supa, he's commented on the people like Ardasher and Arcane. The terrible thing that I'm seeing for Endfield is it's repeating the same mistake that was done in the base game by the same company.
Ah, I see. So to translate back, I think everything that Kuki said, minus the interruptions from like Solon's little brother, who happens to be like living with Kuki for some fucking reason, it's this. Kuki has played basically a majority of the base Arknights. And what he's noticing is that the base Arknights, which was written 5+ years ago, right? 6+ years ago, it wasn't that great at the beginning. And then it got a lot better as time went on. And he's asking, despite the fact that this writing team over here knows what wasn't good in base AK, why are these bums repeating the same shit in AKE, in the early story, all of that?
It is the starting experience of Endfield
And he just took a lot longer to fucking say it.
don't feel that awesome. And it's not good because people's first impressions are very important when they play the game. They gotta feel good, they gotta feel like this is a game that they wanna log in to look forward to what happens in later patches.
But I think this is the core root that he's missing over here. He's kind of summing up all the people that quit AKE early on as like they just weren't hooked on the story. They quit because the story was bad. No, bro. I think most people quit because the game was like, bro, the game had the worst end game loop I think anyone in the gacha space has ever seen. People can take a story not being that good and then picking up later if the core gameplay is good. If your core gameplay is bad, then your story needs to be good to keep you going. In AKE, the story is bad in 1.0 and the gameplay is bad in 1.0.
But we can clearly see
there's no other way this happens. You cannot... How do you pull numbers like this 4 months in unless something is deeply wrong with the game? And it's got to be something at the core that's deeply wrong with the game. Up from 123. Yeah, we take the W's where we can get them, brother.
it's not really happening. Okay, I was just observing this and I hit to the official YouTube channel that Endfield has. I don't think we need to be always so sensitive about view count and things like that. But I do think with the disparity,
you do have to be sensitive about view count when it looks like this. Okay? If your game that was at 70k live viewers is now down to 126. Okay, I'm just gonna do some math. What is 126 divided by 70,000? You are at 0.18%. 0.018. What the fuck? You are at 0.0018 of your peak. It was 96k? No way. 0.00131
is like really big and obvious. It's kind of a concern. When Endfield first started and it launched,
I'm sorry, bro. Now he pulled out a different bazooka. Oh, he had an alternative equipment. He had an alternative gear set slotted in. Oh my good. We came in with different specs. I didn't understand your game, Cookie. He pulled out this sword instead. He went with the YouTube searches. I was over here talking about Twitch. He pulled out the YouTube views.
Of course, I do think that they maybe like advertised the video and whatnot. It had 1.1 million view when the game was launched. And then when you look at the recent event they had Fang Yi, it went to 331k, which is like...
You all know what they also did, Kookie? That Kookie's failing to mention here, probably because it just skipped his memory. No big deal. Notice how that was the 1.2 live stream. Let's take a look at this over here for a second. So you go to the live tab, and they've only got 2 of them. They've had 3 versions, though. So it's like, wait. Oh, it's here. It's this one. Yeah, they just turned the live stream into a video because they knew the patch was bad. Why else would they turn the live stream into a video?
That's a pretty big drop-off in terms of like the people who were once excited, interested in the game, and then you have a whole half, more than half, in fact, of the people who watched the start no longer watching into the next one.
Bro, Kookie, you don't even need to pull this shit up. Like, I don't even mean this in a fucked up way, Kookie, but you could just pull up your own views. I don't even mean this in a fucked up way, but like literally, you could just pull up your own views and then talk about how you fell off because this game has fallen off. And most of your videos are on this game. Like, I don't even mean it in a fucked up way. It's just like, it is what it is. Like, that's the situation, bro. It's fucked up because there's nobody else that's even doing good. I don't know a single person making Endfield content that's doing well. That's the point. It's not like a shot at him. It's a shot against the game.
I really do think that that is a conversation that we need to have. People say that we cannot criticize the game, but
And blueprint walkthroughs don't count.
think criticisms needs to be done and people need to understand how to criticize in a way that is actually fruitful. So one of the things that I don't entirely agree with is when it comes to people having subjective opinions of the characters that are within the game. Okay, you've got big creators telling you that they don't enjoy the personality of Chen, right? You also have people who have expressed that they don't like the personality of Arcane. And I think all of those things kind of like you just saying that you don't like this person, and I can also have characters that I don't like. I have characters that I don't like their personality in AK and Endfield as well. But I've never thought that not liking someone's personality has to be the reason that you end up saying that this is a bad writing and whatnot.
If their personality is so fucking awful that it takes you out of engaging the story, then yes, I think it's a fair critique to make. But if you're just like mildly annoyed by like someone's characterization and then you make it like a big focal point and then like you end up going on like a tangent because of it, I think it's different. For example, Tagido from NTE is so fucking bad it can ruin the story for you. Tagido is so fucking annoying it can ruin the story for you. Is Rosia in Wuthering Waves annoying enough to ruin the story? No, because her role in it isn't large enough. Even if you hate Rosia, her role in the story is not large enough to like dramatically impact the overall tellings of it.
Because these personalities can exist in real life, right? When people say that they don't like Chen is a very bubbly character, is a high energy, positive person. But that's not unrealistic per se. You can have hyper friends that are just like this and always out there to follow you through. You have Arcane where, well, I have to kind of arrow him out, but Supa has openly mentioned how she doesn't like Arcane, and he stated how she's kind of like a blank shell. There's nothing much going on with her. She's kind of like this sort of yes man to you who always follow your orders, and then in the end they all of a sudden just make her like off herself, or more so take her together with Ardisha, right? I don't entirely
I think that's a spoiler.
agree that she doesn't have
Yeah, I think that's a spoiler, but I don't care because the story's bad.
a good dynamic with the characters, because at the end of the day, she is painted as a military personnel, and I think that is pretty realistic in itself. I think there's a difference between characterizing someone that feels like something that you would see pretty normally versus someone that, well, you see pretty normally, but if you don't like this person, therefore you end up not liking the story. I think there's a little bit of a difference with that kind of take.
I think one character can ruin a story. It really just depends on how big of a role that character plays and how bad that one moment for them is. For example, I heard people really don't like the ending of The Boys. I heard people hate the ending of The Boys because of how somebody is characterized at the ending. I heard some people, they hated The Last of Us 2 just because of one person. I heard a lot of people hated XYZ because of one person in a movie. So yeah, I think Kookie over here probably could use like some better examples or something like that. I think for him to talk about Chen, you know, like that, oh, Edmund, look at me. I'm a dragon. She's designed as like intentional comedic relief. And as long as they're not like obscene to the point of like being everywhere, it can't be that bad.
I think seeing the quality of writing that they have in the game is something that we can be conversing about. It doesn't need extreme world building and whatnot. I agree with the stance that the initial comment kind of put forth that you cannot have the insane level of lone trail and babble that we see in Arknights, where it spans from so many initial stories that we've had in the game to then deliver on like a big banger wrap up. Let's bring in all these kind of theories and ideas you've seen in other stories into one.
I mean, this is the issue. Bro, they're trying to go around, have this like high scale sci-fi story, but then you don't spend enough time in any of the places to like fully understand what's going on because you're going from fucking planet to planet to planet, learning like superficial thing after superficial thing. And it's just so surface level, everything that's going on, it can never actually be like, you always feel like you're just like scratching the fucking surface of everything because these are entirely different fucking planets and you're on a spaceship and you're like going back and forth. So like at its core, you can't like really be that connected to like the game world.
Right? You cannot achieve that in the span of just 3 months of the game. However, I need to point out that Arknights stories isn't always about putting everything into a giant web and linking into one story. AK has delivered on a lot of stand-alone stories where without you reading the main chapter at all, you can actually enjoy them in person. No need to know about like Oripathy, Originium, what kind of races they are. You can just read them on their own. And some...
Okay, I see what he's saying. And then AK makes like regular Arknights, makes these stories like less fucking sci-fi basically, and just makes it so that like, hey, you don't need to have an entire encyclopedia ready to go to understand what the struggles are here.
Some of these stories are absolutely amazing. The things that I want to point out on are things like Twilight of Wolomonde. I think that's one of my favorite...
What the fuck did he just say?
...stories in that game. You have Exodus the Pale Sea, which I think is
Wait, so what the fuck was that?
Amazing as well. Echodai, the event that features Trogodia, also amazing. And people say, world building, but those stories need no world building. You just read them on your own, and they are so well written. When we compare to the state of like Endfield, I do think that the part we need to criticize on is not the fact that, oh, I don't get the same vibe of AK and whatnot. Like, yeah, that's gonna take time, but when you just look at the stand-alone things that you've read thus far, not just in the main story of Endfield that they've been delivering, but also the side quests that you've been playing, right? Some of the side quests that Endfield has is absolutely brain-damaging.
Sometimes I just feel like this guy needs to stop being nice. Like this is the thing. I feel like this video could have probably been like 4 or 5 minutes shorter if he just decided to like stop dancing around and just say shit is trash when it's trash. But I think this is the thing. I feel like Kuki has to struggle like every single video because he knows that if he says like just flat out straight, like shares his true thoughts on how bad Endfield is, the Arknights part of his community will get like mad at him because it's like Endfield is like the Arknights successor, right? So it's kind of just like, bro, sometimes the little bits of it do come out, and I want him to just make a video that focuses like completely on the negatives. But then again, you can't really do that unless you plan on shitting on the game. That's why I'm the only one that does that.
I agree with the sort of complaints that people has made of 1.1, where they were talking about how we had the cleaning event.
Yeah, the event was you literally cleaning shit off of things.
I agree. It's just fun. I don't know. I don't really find joy in that. Like there was some...
The 1.2 expansion is you managing a sewer system in Wuling. You improving the sewer system. You're literally cleaning up poo-poo doo-doo water.
Stages that just went like, oh, okay, this is kind of interesting. But honestly speaking, did I have to play that? No. Not very helpful of an event. All the food quests when you submit food is very plain. These are the kind of things that I see in the other games, and it's the reason why I don't like the other games, because I want to play something that feels meaningful for me to do.
Well, great. Because you want to know what they did? AKE, when designing these events, not only made them worse than, I guess, regular Arknights, they made them worse than all of the other games that you yourself don't play, Kuki. And this is why I've been saying, if Kuki had simply played Genshin, or if Kuki had simply played Wuwa, he would know how bad Endfield is. This dude is out here saying that, like, the poopy cleaning event and the food delivery event is the same type of event in Genshin or Wuwa. No, it's worse than what's in Genshin and Wuwa. So not only is AKE's events worse than what's in AK, it's also worse than what's in Genshin, and it's worse than what's in Wuwa. It's worse than HSR. It's worse than ZZZ. So you managed to make something that AK players don't like. You managed to make something that Genshin players don't like, that Wuwa players don't like, that ZZZ players also don't like. The end result is that nobody likes this fucking game, bro. It's literally falling off faster than NTE. I'm not even joking. I think it is falling off faster than NTE. No lie. Might be falling off faster than Duet 9 Abyss, if I'm going to be real. I think Duet 9 Abyss 4 months into launch had better views than this.
Well, of course, those are just more so the filler events. But if we talk about side quests, where there are extra stories, those that are voiced, right? There are definitely some side quests that makes you go like, oh, why did I really have to sit through this? Some of them are pretty interesting. With the likes of patch 1.0, we had the whole Granny Jenny. I cannot remember her entire name, right? I think that was a great side quest that we've seen in itself. In the case of the current few events, you also got to see the interactions with the civilians themselves. Some of the Stockades quests were also pretty fun.
But this is the bad thing, Kooky, about the examples they were giving out. You listed out one side quest from 1.0 that wasn't bad. Do you know how many side quests there are in the game that are dog shit? And so it's like, you would have to literally shovel through mountains of fucking poo-poo to get to this one, like, little nugget of, like, good content on the side quest. That's why everyone just quit and never actually got to this one good quest that you're talking about. Because I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about.
There's some good stuff that they've written, but not everything is great. And as a result of that, I do think that the not-so-good stuff, unfortunately, will quell down people's opinions of these patches.
And people are just going to quit if they see a bunch of this not high-quality stuff that you're saying there's so much of. And so even if there is good stuff in there, if you bog it down with slop that's not good, then people might just never get to the good stuff.
So the thing is that it's not like people aren't agreeing with each other on this. That for one, I think we need to criticize appropriately as to what we don't think is working out on a standalone basis.
Everything. Just criticize everything in the game. I don't think that there's a single thing in AKE that cannot be criticized at this point. I legitimately think you should criticize everything.
The whole thing about wanting Endfield to match AK, it might never happen, but I do think it's fair for us to wish for that. Just that, be realistic, it's not going to happen immediately.
It might happen never. Bro, I think that this game is actually, theoretically, if I were to think of a game that would EOS the fastest, it's tied between this one and ZZZ.
It might take time for that to occur. Until that time, can the build-up for Endfield feel like a good experience? That is, I think, pretty important, okay?
Brother, Kooky, if you're going to be out here talking about, hey, we can't just, like, critique the game, we got to critique it in the right way, brother, you got to put your best foot forward. Because as far as I can see, this is like you. Imagine, right? There's like a 10-story building that's burning down. Kooky kind of like at the bottom, telling people to like slow down as they're running down the stairs. It's like, no, bro, at this point, they're just trying to get out of the building. Like, I don't think they care about like, oh, like how fast they're going or about like getting out in an orderly fashion. I think they're just trying to leave. And at this point, anyone that's like critiquing AKE, talking about what's wrong with the game, blah, 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 finding issues with it, this is basically them simply venting out some sort of frustration about why the game is not good, why the game is not holding their attention, why they want to quit the game. And I think the reality of it over here is that there's just a lot of people that fall into that bucket of they don't feel like playing the game. And there are so many things wrong with it that you could ask, I think, like a group of like 100 people who quit AKE, and it might be like a fucking equal spread of answers, like a pie chart where everything is the same proportion, because there's so much shit wrong with the fucking game. And I personally feel like Kooky's kind of like lack of exposure to more mainstream gachas actually doesn't help him a lot over here, because he would know just how bad AKE is, even relative to the rest of the space. He's saying how bad AKE is compared to regular AK. There's a lot more to make here.
It might sound like I haven't been too satisfied with how 1.1 and 1.2 is. I've not made like a patch review for these two versions yet. I'm gonna
do it.
Do like a combined review pretty soon before
shit on everything.
Patch 1.3 appears. But I do, for now, can tell you guys that I think those were pretty well done. For a large part. There are some things that I don't think they did very good. Until then, however, the way I see it is I hope they can be consistently improving themselves with the whole story writing experience. Because
gonna have to see that video for sure. Interesting.
People are telling other players to be patient with Endfield. It will get good. It will get better. But the thing is, patience have a limit for various players.
What is he like? Is he like lying? Is he just like tempering his audience's expectations that he's actually going to shit on the game? Because like, I guess this is the thing, is that like, I don't know. I don't believe him when he's saying it was well done as he's talking about all the shit going wrong with the game.
Some of you have insane patience. You're willing to die with Hypergriff.
Because like now he's calling people copers, but that he himself is coping.
See the end of it. Other people don't have the same patience.
This is like the Cope Olympics.
People got mad when I made the video explaining why some people feel that Endfield characters can feel soulless. I don't think they necessarily are. I just used that video to explain it and people got really pissed with me.
This is a man in pain. He's already gotten backlash from toxic positive retards, and so he's simply tempering his language here. Remember what I said before about him not wanting to upset his audience? That's the issue with the Hypergriff audience. That's why I was relentlessly shitting on this game from day zero, because it deserved it, and I told all those retarded kids to shut the fuck up at every opportunity. Bro, do you know how little I value the opinion of a hyper-grifter? Literally nothing, bro. Worth less than the dirt between my fucking toes. Between my fucking toes and my fucking nails, bro. But unfortunately, this is the community that Kuki has grown on because he's done only AK content. And the unfortunate thing is that any critique in the Endfield space or the AK space, bro, it's met with a crazy response. Bro, he looks like he's about to cry remembering that.
To just make a conversation about that. And the thing I need to reply to these people, because I get a very common reply, is you cannot complain now. The game just started. Guys! Who gives a fuck?
You know what? I get it. I get it. Nah, he is crashing out. Nah, he is crashing out. Now, this is a conflicted man. Do you guys see everything that I was like? This video as a whole, no, this is a journey, bro. And like in this middle section over here, I was like, is this dude what is he doing? Is he like gaslighting himself? Like, what's like going on? It's like he kind of like switching his mind, kind of like a Katy Perry song up in here, right? He's a little bit hot, a little bit cold. Now I get it. Now I get it. Now I get it. I need to play that again.
To just make a conversation about that. And the thing I need to reply to these people, because I get a very common reply, is you cannot complain now. The game just started. Guys, who gives a fuck?
Editor, we need that for the intro. We need that for the intro. That is a banger. Nah, he just crashing out.
People are quitting the game.
What?
About that. And the thing I need to reply to these people, because I get a very common reply.
Wait, he had a second ult. He had 2 casts. He had 2 casts. It was a 2-parter. Body limit unlocked.
Right, is you cannot complain now. The game just started. Guys, who gives a fuck?
And now it's like over here. Body limit unlocked.
People are quitting the game. We need to reason why these people are quitting the game. And some of you will be like, oh, doesn't matter if they quit the game. It's...
That's amazing. Holy shit. Holy fucking shit. He went off, bro. The optics for this title are terrible. Okay? They are terrible. 125k peak, 126 life. If you multiply this 1,000 times, you get this. It is 1/1,000th. 1 out of 1,000. What it was before. Refresh, it got lower? No way.
My game, you know, I'm still here, I'm still ready to see it. If you guys have that kind of opinion, you really don't give a shit about how the company is doing, because it is important for them to be able to know how to retain their players.
It's funny. Kooky out here being the hyper glazer. I'm shitting on the game because it's good for Hypergriff. I'm shitting on the game because I hate Hypergriff. But hey, it's same motivation.
Whatsoever there is, people's patience, as I said, are of varying levels. So they really need to work as fast as possible to ensure that players will finally see that, oh, this is why I joined this game. This is why I have been looking so forward to the said quality of writing that people kept hyping about when Hypergriff makes this 3D title.
There's no more hype anymore for Hypergriff titles, by the way. I think Endfield has successfully actually murdered any chance this game has at making a sequel.
So that, to me, is pretty important for us to understand. So I hope that I kind of gave this sort of stance that explains to people how I feel towards this game. That is, I do think that they're on the right track, and when it comes to criticizing on things, let's talk more about the current stuff, look at it on the face value. For the things that we have the hope, it's not like all of us don't have hope. We all are hoping for bigger things and better things. But yeah, just wait and see, I would say. But while we are hoping towards that, let's also help to say things that can push the game into a better direction. Not a direction that we ourselves only want. There are a lot of reviewers out there, and even a certain reviewer that we've not seen for quite a while now, that expresses opinions that is only to create a game that only they themselves want. I think
he's talking about Tobero here, and like that whole, like, Tobero was right about a lot of things, but his solutions to what he was right about weren't that great either.
I do think that there is an importance in trying to figure out a game that a larger proportion of players would actually enjoy. And there can be middle grounds of things that not only a lot of people can enjoy, but even selective people can enjoy.
I think this is where I'm gonna cut it over here, because I think he's kind of like going around in circles a little bit. I think Kooky is kind of like at a bit of a crossroads right now when it comes to Arknights and when it also comes to Endfield. And this is like kind of like my personal take, my kind of personal summary of the situation. Everyone playing this game has to be aware of how fucking shit it is at the moment. This 1.2 patch is one of the most disastrous ones I've ever seen from like a character perspective, a like content perspective, and of course, an engagement perspective, where we are currently have been averaging 100 viewers for like the past 2 hours. Duet Night Abyss has more viewers. And it is unreal that a game that is this high budget, that's got this much advertisement, that's gotten this much promotion, could ever see itself in such dire fucking straits, because it doesn't even seem real. It seems fake. It seems like it's not even like slightly reasonable. But that is reality, ladies and gentlemen. And reality can be stranger than fiction. And when it comes to Kooky over here, I think that part of him really wants this game to succeed because he really likes Arknights. He's probably one of the most genuine Arknights CCs I've ever seen. But it's this simple. He's overcomplicating it like crazy because he has such an attachment to the game. And the reality of it is that this game has so much stuff wrong with it, from a gameplay angle, from a gacha angle, from a like pulling angle, from a story angle, all this stuff. And it's not easy to figure out why people quit, because they were paying people to play the fucking game, basically. They were advertising it like fucking crazy. It was unreal, the amount of budget that went into this shit. And I think the fact of the matter is that we're not sure why people are quitting. Because it can't be just the story, it can't be just the gacha, it can't be just this, it can't be just that. There's a lot of stuff involved with this quitting, simply because there's a lot of stuff wrong with the game. And one thing that I feel like Kooky should actually really explore doing is just like a video about literally not what he thinks is wrong with the game personally, because he's already said that he likes parts of it, but just what everyone in the community has quit for. Like, do a poll, do something like that, make it interactive, find out why people quit, and then list out like the top reasons, and then talk about each one, and then actually get into your actionable stuff from over there, right? If we do want to have like a bit more of a positive spin on it, then I can react to it and talk about how bad all the how bad all the things you listed out actually are. So yeah, let me know what you all thought about this one, ladies and gentlemen. I know this was a bit of a, we went through a bit of a ringer with this, but I think it makes sense, especially knowing the massive levels of toxic positivity this guy had to deal with. And we'll make sure to make that clear in the intro. Let me know what you all thought. Peace out.